Welcome to the Introverted Influencer Podcast. I'm your host, Erica Van Slyke. My soul's mission on this planet is to help fellow introverts grow their online influence in a state of feminine flow and ease. While battling the woes of depression, anxiety, and even mom guilt, I've somehow managed to build a six-figure blog without the use of social media and without sacrificing my mental health. If I can do it, you can fucking too. Welcome back to episode 24 of the Introverted Influencer Podcast. I am so happy that you have carved out some space in your busy day to spend it with me. That means so much. So this one's going to have to be a super quickie today because my boys are out of summer camp and home with me for the next few weeks. And I swear every 5 seconds they are bursting into my office barking orders at me. And not only that, I accidentally deleted the original recording of my message today. So this is the second time for me that I'm going to give this message. But anyhow, shifting gears to the lesson today. So I've mentioned this in previous episodes, but for about 4 months now, I have been in this place of just feeling like I've been hit with waves of challenges. And as soon as I catch my breath, there's another wave of another challenge, both in my business and in my personal life. But recently, I've noticed a shift in my energy where I've gone from this place of being hypervigilant, anxious, just dog paddling for some kind of result, and basically just being a chronic fixer. And I say that, I'm using air quotes because I can't actually say that anything has yet to really be fixed or resolved. But I've just entered into this new energy of surrender, mainly peace too, and just this pause. Like I'm not forcing things anymore. And I think that this is a really magical place to be. That place where you've basically just exhausted yourself from all the forcing and the gripping and the stressing, and you just get to that fuck it stage where you really don't have the energy to obsess over the outcome anymore. You know in your heart you've done all you can do, and anything else would really just further convolute the whole process. And that's not the same thing as giving up on your vision or your desired outcome, but you just enter this place of peace with pausing, with the unknown, with the limited perspective that is something we mere mortals just have to accept because we can't predict the future or the outcome. And you just get to this place where you have to step back into the role of co-captain, co-creator with God and the universe, instead of trying to make it all happen in your own power, your own will. And one way I have been finding a lot of peace lately is just by making it an effort to get out in nature on a regular basis. So every Sunday, my husband and I have gotten into this really nice routine where we go out on this private cove on the lake in our backyard, and we just go out there, canoe, and it's kind of like a date. And we get to catch up without the kids interrupting us And we've had some pretty great conversations. But he was kind of just asking where my brain space is right now, where my head space is with everything. And I said, I'm done forcing it. I'm handing it over to the universe right now. And in that very moment, being out on this beautiful place in the lake right by our house, where you feel like you're in the freaking jungle, it came to me like, oh my God, I never would have thought I would have ended up here, living in this beautiful place on the lake with this incredible family, this amazing husband. It was just a revelation. And what's especially miraculous about where we live now, we moved into this lake house 4 months ago, and this was never our plan. So we sold our beloved fixer-upper back in January. It's the home that created my blog, gave all of the content for the blog, got me where I am now. We loved it, but we had outgrown it. And we sold it thinking that we were going to get this other home. It was like a mid-century modern out on a farm. And we had met the sellers, which that's not very ordinary. The sellers wanted to come out, meet us. They acted like they loved us. They said, we want you to have this house. And then we put in our offer, and they never got back to us. They accepted another offer. And we were devastated. But looking back on this in hindsight, there were actually a few red flags with that other house that I had ignored because I was basically I'd gotten desperate, I guess. This market's crazy, and I got emotional about it. And one of those red flags was the fact that the previous owner, not the sellers that we had met, but the owner before that, was actually a madame. She was the owner of a slew of strip clubs and nightclubs in the Southeast. And it was even a little sketchy. There was a safe room behind the master bathroom. But I just overlooked this red flag. And while we were out on the water this weekend, the revelation, it became so obvious that things always work out better than I ever could have freaking planned on my own. We aimed for a whorehouse, and we got a beautiful piece of architecture on the lake. Our standards at the time were so low. Our perception, our vantage point was so limited. We never even knew to aim for this amazing place we have now. And so I actually went home after our little date on the canoe and scribbled my mantra right now to keep me in my faith during this unknown time in my life. And I just scribbled, aimed for a whorehouse, but got a lake house. But simply put, God's ways are not our ways, and they always end up being so much better than we ever could have constructed ourselves on our own. So even though my reality has not reflected much of a change to me, I am choosing to just pause from all the doing and all the fixing and just leave room for miracles. And before I wrap it up, I want to leave you with some wise words from life coach Gina DeVee, which I have been binging on her podcast lately. I think she's in a really similar situation in her life right now because all of her messages have just really been hitting home. But in a recent episode, she said, "We must be wise enough to not pull the flower open and think that that is blossoming." That just resonates so much for me for where I'm at. I'm ready for a next level. I'm ready for next level results, but I can't force it. Because at the end of the day, you cannot force a flower to bloom. You can nurture the flower and water it and make sure it has plenty of sunlight. But if you try to force those petals to open before they're ready, they'll break. In a world obsessed with action and doing and results, I know inaction can feel awkward and really it can be a bold decision. But do you really want to do everything in your own power? I don't know about you, but I want miraculous results, not predictable outcomes, as much as my ego might scream otherwise. I want the kind of miracles that landed me in this beautiful house on the lake when I had aimed for something so not as beautiful. So I've got to wrap it up now because a dog is scratching at my office door and I hear the kids in the background fighting. So I'm just going to leave it right there today. But I hope that this episode was what you needed to hear. If you have done everything you know to do, you are following those intuitive nudges and those divine messages, and nothing is happening, just find comfort in that pause and in that quiet moment. And know something miraculous exists on the other side for you. Thank you so much for stopping by this week. I make no money from these podcasts. So the best way you can support this show is by leaving me a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you use, or by sharing it with a friend, or by screenshotting this episode on your phone, uploading it to your Insta story, and tagging me in it at Designing Vibes. Sending you my love.